This is Garrett Fry, the Cityscape Sequence Lead for 3D Digital Map Painting, and we're taking a look at B101. So in this shot, we go pan to the left and settle on the city. For this city, we are going to be changing 50% or up to 50% of the skyline, and that's going to be everything above north of this line. All this stuff down here can change. So you can completely eliminate buildings. You can put buildings on top, or you can put buildings behind. Any three of those scenarios will work out great. So in this one, these buildings are a little more flat lit because the lighting direction is coming from over here. So if you have a building that is a bit more overcast that you're using, this is going to work out great. Although you do want to make sure that you are there's a distinct difference between the light side and the dark side. And so, and what influences the value of that is the material, the local material qualities of that. What is it? Very diffuse? Is it very specular? So you look at this building here, and this is a different value than this. This one is just slightly brighter, and this one is a slightly darker. And it's because this building here is, a lot of it is glass, and so overall it's going to be just a bit brighter. So you do have a bit of range in here. Not all of the shadow colors values rather are going to be the same. You can see this one here. It's really quite dark actually, but it still integrates well within the shot. So when you set these up and you're putting your adjustment layers on your buildings to define the light side of your building and the shadow side, it's great because you can go through many iterations with those adjustment layers, and just to make sure that you're kind of hitting the right value, and it just kind of integrates into the shot. And part of that actually is that you need, as you're going through the image reference library, you're going to start to get a familiarity with how buildings work within a city environment. So the more that you are going through and looking at buildings, the more you're going to be able to identify whether or not your building looks really nicely integrated into this landscape or not. So it's really great to go through that image library. So make sure you're hitting the right lighting direction, the right specular quality of all of these buildings. In addition to figuring out what you need to do for this shot, you have other shots. You have B100, you have B102, and you have B103. So all of these shots here need to be considered when you're making decisions about this shot. So go through the image reference library, decide what kind of buildings that you're going to use for this shot, and then those same buildings need to be put into that, but under different lighting conditions. So you'll want to just throw them into each shot before you get started on some of your final map painting work on one shot, so that you can make sure that those buildings are going to work under those different lighting scenarios. Make sure that before you jump into these shots, you download the image library. The image library consists of nearly 500 raw images. That's 2.27 gigs of buildings from 5 different cities from around the world: Sydney, Wellington, Adelaide, San Francisco, and New Orleans. So there's a huge variety of buildings to choose from. The photo reference includes buildings under all different lighting conditions and angles, so it pays off to familiarize yourself with the materials you're going to use to successfully execute these shots.